Within your body, every day, millions of muscle fibers are sending out a faint signal. I'm weakening. I need to be nourished again. Not because you eat too little, not because you're lazy, but because your body, after age 60, no longer processes things as it used to. You still eat fruit regularly, right? A plate of watermelon at noon, a bunch of bananas after walking, a glass of orange juice in the afternoon. Sounds healthy. But how is your body absorbing them? After age 60, digestive enzymes decrease, insulin sensitivity decreases, and blood flow to muscle tissue is poorer. That is, what you eat may not reach where it needs to go. Worse, some fruits thought to be nutritious are actually increasing blood sugar, causing silent inflammatory reactions, or preventing muscles from synthesizing protein. No warning signs, no pain, no immediate fatigue. Just one day, you notice a slight tremor in your hand when opening a water bottle. Just your legs getting tired sooner when you walk quickly. Just having more trouble sleeping, breathing more shallowly, and feeling like you're not the same anymore. This is not a warning. This is an invitation to look at the familiar fruit plate every day with new eyes. Not to be afraid, but to choose the right types of fruit in the right way that your current body can absorb, metabolize, and repair muscles. Why? Because muscle loss is not a surprise, but the result of small choices repeated long enough. And if you start changing from small things, like fruit, then your body will also start to change from things thought to be lost. Strength, balance, reflexes, and even the confidence to keep going. You don't need to eat strange or expensive fruits. You also don't need to chase after overmarketed superfoods. What you need is a list of 7 fruits that not only nutrition experts but also geriatric researchers are recommending for people over 60 because they reactivate the process of muscle protein synthesis, reduce silent inflammatory reactions in muscle tissue, increase motor nerve transmission, and especially are suitable for the slowing digestion and absorption rates of aging. And if you're ready, we'll start with the first fruit. Not sweet, not fancy, not heavily advertised, but it is the path opener for blood to reach muscle tissue so that the nutrients you eat are not wasted. That is, Padron peppers. Fruit number 1 on the journey to rebuild the muscles of old age. Muscles cannot recover if blood doesn't reach where it needs to go, even if you eat enough protein, drink enough milk, and take enough supplements. But if the blood flow is weak and slow, like a dried-up stream in the dry season, then every small muscle fiber in your calves, shoulders, or forearms will continue to weaken without a chance to be nourished again. At 30, you can run and then get up and go to work like nothing happened. At 60, even just bending down to tie your shoes can make your knees feel heavy. It's not because you're weak, but because blood circulation is no longer working as it used to. And this is when a small fruit, often overlooked on a Spanish tapas plate, begins to play a big role. Padron peppers, not spicy, not bright red, not fiery like people usually imagine peppers. On the contrary, they are a quiet green, small and oblong, with a mild warmth, like a soft but firm handshake. What makes the difference is not the shape, but the compound called capsaicin, found in the thin membrane inside this pepper. Capsaicin acts like a microcirculatory signal, stimulating blood vessels to dilate gently, not suddenly, not causing flushing, but just enough to push blood deeper, to the thighs or calves that often cramp, to the shoulder muscles that have stiffened after long periods of lying on one side, to the small muscle tissues that are barely surviving due to lack of microcirculatory oxygen. And when blood arrives, everything begins to change. Protein is carried away. Vitamins are delivered. Blood vessels, like small roads, are cleared and widened so that every muscle area, every fiber bundle, every small ligament begins to come back to life. Besides capsaicin, Padron peppers also contain something rarely mentioned, but extremely valuable for older adults: vitamin C. Not just for fighting colds, as people often think. Vitamin C is a raw material for producing collagen, the biological glue that binds muscle fibers, keeps tendons from tearing, muscles from sagging, and connective tissue from separating during movement. You don't see that change, but you will feel it. When one day you walk home without feeling heavy legs, when you sleep through the night without being awakened by numbness in your calves, or when you get up from a chair without having to think about getting momentum. You don't need to eat spicy food. You also don't need to eat a lot, just Padron peppers, lightly stir-fried with a little olive oil, used 2 to 3 times a week, as a warm side dish at dinner. It doesn't replace a meal, but it helps everything you eat reach the place your body needs it most. Padron peppers are not a superfood. They are not prominent. They don't advertise. They don't sit on high shelves. But if you need something that quietly helps blood flow in the right direction, then this not sweet, not red fruit is the perfect starting friend on the journey to rebuild muscles after age 60. And when the blood has been awakened, when the flow has been cleared, the next step is to protect what the blood is carrying. Nutrients can't just arrive and then fall away. They need a biological armor to retain, bind, and slow down aging in every muscle cell. The one who takes on that role is fruit number 2, red grapes. Blood flow is now clear, but you know, blood carrying nutrients to muscle tissue is not enough, because in that journey, the body still has to fight, not against bacteria, but against a more invisible enemy, cell aging. There is no noise, there are no obvious signs. It's just that every day, a little energy is lost. Every time you move, a muscle fiber doesn't fully recover. Then one morning you realize you've gotten weaker for no apparent reason. Actually, it always starts from within. Muscles, like a structure, are built by millions of fiber cells. When young, these cells are strong, tightly bound, resisting oxidation from the environment and internal biological stress. But after age 60, they begin to loosen their grip. They no longer have the resistance. They no longer protect each other. And that process, medicine calls silent muscle tissue aging. The main reason why your back aches when you stand for a long time, or why your hands tremble slightly when holding something for more than 5 minutes. And it is at this moment that red grapes step in, not as a dessert, but as a thin yet tough biological armor. In the skin of red grapes, there is a compound called resveratrol. People call it an anti-aging substance, but in fact, it is a cell doorkeeper. Resveratrol protects the muscle cell membrane from oxidation, like preventing rust inside a layer of metal. It helps cells maintain their integrity, prevents leakage of genetic information, and most importantly, keeps the process of muscle protein synthesis from being interrupted. But the role of red grapes doesn't stop there. Resveratrol also affects mitochondria, the energy-generating centers for all vital activities of muscle cells. In youth, mitochondria function like stable power plants, but over time, they become disordered, consuming more energy than they produce. Red grapes, silently, repair those power plants, helping muscles regain energy after you walk, helping your legs not feel exhausted after a morning of gardening, and helping your heart beat more gently every time you climb a few flights of stairs. Some people eat grapes for their sweetness. Some eat them for digestion. But you, after age 60, eat grapes to recover. No need to eat a lot, just a small cup, about 150 to 200 grams per day. Remember to keep the skin, and if possible, don't discard the seeds. Because it is there, the skin and seeds of grapes, where resveratrol is most concentrated. And if you want to go a little further, mix red grapes with a few walnuts and young arugula, a little olive oil, a few slices of soft cheese. Not just a beautiful salad, but a meal that rebuilds the biological barrier for aging muscles. Blood has arrived, thanks to Padron. A protective layer has formed, thanks to red grapes. And now it's time to activate the regeneration capability, because even if you eat enough protein, get enough sleep, and exercise moderately, if the gene that synthesizes muscle protein isn't switched back on, then muscle tissue will continue to waste away. Fruit number 3 will take care of that. A type of fruit that quietly grows wild, rarely mentioned, but inside it contains a rare compound, one that can reawaken the sleeping muscle-building system. That is, Arbutus berry, and I'll tell you about it. There are people who eat enough protein, exercise regularly, and rest properly, but their bodies still don't turn on. Their muscles remain soft, their legs still weak. It feels like something inside isn't coordinating. And it's true. It's not the muscles, not the heart, not the nervous system either. It's that the gene system controlling muscle regeneration has gone into a dormant state. In your youth, every time you exercise, your body automatically activates a chain of regeneration genes, receive signal, break down protein, synthesize new muscle tissue, fast, accurate, efficient. But after age 60, those switches gradually turn off. They no longer react to signals. They no longer produce much new protein. And when it can't rebuild, muscle tissue gradually thins, day by day, even without any injury. At this point, the body needs an awakener, not someone who shouts, but something subtle and deep enough to affect gene expression. You won't find it in expensive superfoods, but you might find it if you happen to walk along the edge of a small forest on the western mountains of the United States. There, a wild fruit grows, the arbutus berry. Arbutus berries aren't vibrant. They have a rough, brick-red skin, sometimes even a bit bumpy to the touch, but inside is a combination of 3 powerful plant compounds: flavonoids, tannins, and vitamin C. Flavonoids help stimulate deep blood circulation, delivering signals to every muscle fiber deep within the tissue. Tannins act like gatekeepers, retaining collagen, preventing it from leaking out of the connective tissue. Vitamin C, no need to say much, is the foundation that creates the glue between muscle cells, keeping muscle tissue elastic and intact. But the special thing lies elsewhere. In arbutus berries, there's a group of gene-modulating substances capable of reactivating the muscle-synthesizing gene. A study from the University of Oregon shows that the characteristic polyphenols in this wild berry help re-express the muscle protein synthesis gene, especially in people over 65. This doesn't show you immediate strength, but after a few weeks you'll notice less neck and shoulder stiffness when washing your hair, not needing to use your hands to stand up from the sofa, and at night, no more waking up because of tight calves. Arbutus berries can be used simply as follows. Eat them fresh, 4 to 5 berries each day, or make sugar-free jam to eat with whole wheat bread. Lightly blend with Greek yogurt and a few slices of ginger, creating a recovery drink after walking or light exercise. You don't need much, just be consistent, because for a body that has forgotten how to rebuild muscle, what it needs isn't a strong dose, but a sustained signal. Arbutus berries aren't loud, they don't have an addictive flavor, but they reawaken a regeneration engine that has paused due to age. And when that engine starts running again, your body will need fuel. Not explosive energy, but mineral-rich fuel, helping muscles contract rhythmically, joints not creak, and muscle tissue maintain its elasticity. The one who takes on that role is fruit number 4, Loquat. We will explore it together, right after this. Up to this point, your body has begun to change. Blood circulates better. Muscle tissue is protected. The regeneration gene system has been nudged. But something quietly continues to happen. That's the small loss each day. Not big, not obvious, just a slower pace. A meal that feels filling faster, or waking up one day with the feeling of no strength in your biceps. What's happening isn't a disease, but the natural process of muscle breakdown, which still quietly occurs in every body after age 60. The problem is, what is holding on to what you've eaten, what you've regenerated, and what you're gradually building? This is when Loquat appears, like a patient gatekeeper. You can call it Japanese plum or Loquat, a small yellow-orange fruit that grows in clusters, with thin, soft skin and a slightly sour taste. But don't let its plain appearance fool you, because inside Loquat is a rare compound in the plant world, ursolic acid, a substance that doesn't directly supplement, doesn't generate immediate energy, but it has a core role that very few people know about, preventing the breakdown of muscle tissue and reactivating the accumulation of new muscle. Imagine your muscles as a savings account. Every time you eat right and exercise regularly, it's a deposit. But with each passing day, stress, age, and micronutrient imbalances quietly withdraw. Ursolic acid in Loquat locks that lost door. Not only that, Loquat is also rich in potassium, which helps nerve impulses transmit smoothly to muscles, reducing nighttime cramps and subtle muscle stiffness. It also provides carotenoids, a group of substances with anti-inflammatory properties at the cellular level, especially in the connective tissues between muscles and tendons, which are easily injured in older adults after a sudden movement. And don't forget, the soluble fiber in Loquat also helps the intestines better absorb valuable substances like leucine, vitamin D, and iron, which are extremely necessary for rebuilding muscle tissue. A study cited by the American Heart Association has shown regular use of ursolic acid can help reduce the risk of age-related muscle loss by up to 30%, especially in women after age 60. Those numbers aren't resounding, but in reality, it's the difference between someone who can walk down the stairs independently and someone who has to hold on to the railing with each step. The way to use Loquat is very gentle. Each day, just 2 to 3 pitted Loquats, used after a light meal or in the afternoon. You can soak them overnight with chia seeds plus honey, creating a gut-friendly drink that supports electrolytes and nourishes muscles, or lightly steam them with a few slices of fresh ginger, making a warm dessert that aids digestion and absorption. A simple tip: If you want to increase the absorption of carotenoids in Loquat, eat it with a little mashed avocado or a few drops of pure olive oil, because good fats will unlock fat-soluble nutrients, taking them deeper into the muscle tissue. Loquat isn't loud, doesn't supplement immediately, but it preserves what you've worked for, like a careful recorder, diligently accumulating each muscle fiber, each contraction, each sign of recovery in a body that was once weak but never gave up. And if Loquat is the preserver, then the next fruit will be the electricity transmitter. A food thought to only solve digestion, but in reality it provides foundational minerals, helping each small muscle group contract correctly, expand correctly, and keep the body stable amidst life's gravitational pull. Let's move on to fruit number 5, prunes. There's a feeling that's hard to name. It's when you stand up, and your legs don't want to move. When you take a step, and your knees feel empty. Not pain, not dizziness, just a lack of strength. That strength isn't in your biceps, not in your abs. It lies deep within the small muscle bundles around your thighs, ankles, hips, which quietly keep you balanced every day. And if the body is a network of electrical wires, then these muscle bundles are the circuit breakers. Just one strand not conducting, everything goes out of sync. That's when prunes come in, not as a medicine, nor as a constipation-fighting snack, as people often mistakenly think, but as a source of conductive minerals, gentle yet essential, helping each electrical signal from the brain to the muscles not be interrupted. In 100 grams of prunes, just 4 to 5 small pieces, you'll find 732 milligrams of potassium. That's nearly 20% of the daily requirement for someone over 60. And more importantly, potassium is the first mineral to silently decline when you eat few vegetables, don't drink enough water, or are taking blood pressure medication. When potassium is deficient, muscles still have enough protein, but they don't contract rhythmically. You'll notice slight nighttime twitches, leg cramps after a few steps, or just an indescribable feeling of being worn out, not tired, but not wanting to continue moving. But prunes don't stop there. Inside, they also contain phenolics, a group of plant compounds that have micro-anti-inflammatory effects in muscle tissue. This is the type of inflammation you don't see. No swelling, no redness, no heat. But it slows down muscle recovery after exercise and can even disrupt mitochondrial function, the energy source of each muscle cell. In addition, prunes are one of the few natural foods rich in vitamin K, the nail that fastens the bone structure. When bones are strong, muscles have a place to attach. When muscles attach correctly, movements have a foundation. And when both work harmoniously, you can stand up, walk, and turn without fear of losing balance. A study from Tufts University in the United States shows just 3 to 4 prunes per day after 6 weeks can increase endurance after walking, reduce the rate of muscle loss in the thighs and calves, and especially maintain stability in the hip joint, the most likely place to fracture during a fall. The way to use prunes isn't fussy. Chop them finely, add them to your morning oatmeal, mix them into Greek yogurt for a late-day snack, blend them with almond milk and chia seeds for a post-exercise recovery smoothie, or simply soak them in water overnight, drink the water, and eat the fruit the next morning. Not only good for muscles, but also gentle on digestion, and most importantly, doesn't cause a sudden spike in blood sugar. Prunes have a low glycemic index, suitable for people with prediabetes or those on a diet. It's no coincidence that many nutrition experts call prunes the silent balancer. You don't feel it clearly right away, but after a few weeks, you'll walk down the steps without holding onto the railing. You'll fold your blanket without having to stand up slowly. And you'll realize there are small foods that preserve life's greatest autonomy, the ability to stand firm. And if prunes are the pillar, then the next fruit, fruit number 6, will be the gatekeeper of motor nerves, not only protecting muscles, but also safeguarding coordination, balance, and subtle reflexes, things that, if lost, can cause everything, no matter how strong, to crumble with just one misstep. We will encounter a deep purple, wild fruit, once forgotten at the forest's edge, but now scientifically recognized as a defense wall for the aging motor system. That is wild blackberries. There's something lost that few people notice. Not eyesight, not memory, but reflexes. The subtle reflex that helps you maintain balance when the floor is slightly slippery. Helps you turn when a grandchild suddenly runs across your path, or simply keeps your legs from wobbling when stepping down onto a lower step than usual. After age 60, the nervous system that controls movement is no longer as sharp. Signals traveling from the brain to the muscles slow down. The nerve endings, where they connect with each muscle fiber, begin to lose their protective coating. And when nerves are slow, even if muscles are still strong, the body is still prone to falls. That's why wild blackberries, the small, deep purple fruit that grows along the forest's edge, are likened to the silent gatekeeper of the motor system. It's no coincidence that researchers from the National Institute on Aging in the United States have called anthocyanins in blackberries neuroprotective compounds for motor neurons. What are anthocyanins? They are the natural pigments that create the characteristic deep black-purple color in the fruit. But inside the body, they are the most powerful antioxidants you can find in nature. They slow down the damage of motor nerve fibers, prevent the breakdown of synapses, the connection points between nerves and muscles, and especially keep movement reflexes from becoming out of sync. Imagine muscles as guitar strings. The strings are still good, but the person tuning them, the nerves, has shaky hands. That instrument is no longer in tune, and so is the body, difficult to stand up, slow reactions, and prone to wobbling. Anthocyanins help that tuner regain their steadiness. Not only that, blackberries also help increase blood circulation to often forgotten areas like the knees, ankles, elbows, places prone to stiffness, difficulty in moving, but which greatly determine overall flexibility. One study has shown older adults who ate 100 grams of blackberries daily for 8 weeks had faster hand reaction times, better balance when turning, and significantly fewer falls compared to the control group. How to use blackberries effectively. Eat them fresh in the late afternoon as a light, mildly sweet, and refreshing snack. Mix them into morning oatmeal to gently kickstart the neuromuscular system, or blend them with almond milk and chia seeds for a recovery smoothie for both muscles and brain. If you prefer a cool drink, just drop a few blackberries into a sugar-free soda with a slice of lime, and you have an alertness drink for your reflexes. And if blackberries are the gatekeeper of the nerves, then the final fruit on today's list will be the silent architect, helping to open the door for all the nutrients that have entered the body but are stuck at the entrance. Not everyone can use protein effectively, and after age 60, the body absorbs protein significantly less efficiently. Fruit number 7 will help you break down, transport, and regenerate protein in the right place. That is golden kiwi. We will conclude our journey with a small fruit, but one that can completely change how the body uses protein for recovery. Have you ever felt this way? You eat enough meat, fish, eggs, drink milk, take extra protein, but your body is still weak, tired after walking for a few minutes, out of breath climbing one flight of stairs. Not sick, but not healthy either. That's because the ability to absorb protein after age 60 is no longer the same. It's not that protein enters and is automatically used. The body needs to unlock it so that protein can be broken down, absorbed, and transported correctly. This is where golden kiwi plays a special role, not just as a sweet and refreshing fruit for dessert, but as a biological catalyst quietly situated between the food you eat and your muscle groups. Inside, golden kiwi contains a very rare enzyme in food, actinidin. Actinidin acts like a construction crew, breaks down protein from meat, eggs, fish, into shorter chains, helps the small intestine easily absorb them, even when digestive enzymes have decreased, and most importantly, increases the amount of amino acids that can actually be used to rebuild muscle. Simply put, golden kiwi transforms protein into an easily usable form, in the right place, at the right time. Not only that, golden kiwi also contains twice the amount of vitamin C as green kiwi, about 160 milligrams per 100 grams, equivalent to 180% of the daily requirement for people over 60. What role does vitamin C play here? It helps synthesize muscle collagen, keeping muscle fibers elastic and flexible. It heals micro tears after light exercise, and especially, it fights oxidative stress, which causes age-related muscle degeneration. A newly published study in the journal Nutrients, 2023, showed that one golden kiwi each morning for 3 consecutive weeks helped reduce oxidative stress in muscle tissue by up to 40%, increased the efficiency of protein absorption during breakfast, and helped older adults sleep deeper and recover faster after walking. And how to use it? Very simple. Eat it in the early morning on an empty stomach for optimal actinidin enzyme activity. Combine golden kiwi with a little pure honey plus crushed walnuts. a light, easily digestible, protein-rich breakfast. Or blend it with sugar-free orange juice and chia seeds to create a recovery smoothie after walking or gardening. You can also freeze golden kiwi into thin slices, using them as a cool afternoon snack, helping to soothe muscles, stabilize blood sugar, and gently stimulate digestion. Golden kiwi is not a miracle pill, but it is the final key in a smart recovery cycle. You see, the body doesn't weaken just because we age. It weakens when we no longer nourish it properly. And the wonderful thing is, every opportunity for recovery still exists, if we know where to start. The 7 fruits today are not empty promises. They are real pieces, confirmed by scientific research, each with a role, each role with a small but profound impact. Padron peppers, the guide for blood, paving the way to nourish muscles. Red grapes, the antioxidant armor for muscle tissue. Arbutus berries, the keeper of collagen structure, restoring flexibility. Loquat, the one who preserves every gram of muscle from breakdown. Prunes, the conductor of electricity, helping muscles contract and relax correctly. Wild blackberries, the gatekeeper for motor nerves. Golden kiwi, the unlocker of absorption, ensuring protein isn't wasted. You don't need to have all 7 types right away. Just choose one type that you feel suits you best and start from there. 1 golden kiwi in the morning, a few prunes after lunch, or a few red grapes to eat with your partner in the cool afternoon. Because recovery doesn't come from something big. It comes from small changes, repeated every day, regularly, quietly, but very effectively. The body after age 60 is like a once lush garden, just needing to be properly tended again. It will bloom once more. Remember, no one is too old to recover, only those who have forgotten how to listen to their bodies. And if this video has helped you realize something, please share it with loved ones, a retired mother, a friend with back pain, a husband who silently endures tired legs every morning. Sometimes a video doesn't just convey knowledge, but it also becomes a gift, a reminder, a ray of hope.